morning from the River Thames foreshore. A very Merry Christmas to you. I'm here today with a find that I've chosen to be used in this film, Thames Foreshore Finds, end of the year 2019. I'm sharing this film with the other admins of the Thames Foreshore Finds Group, and the address is somewhere there, and also it will be at the end of this film. In case if you're not a member, you can then join the group. I have found a number of rings throughout the years here on the River Thames foreshore. The story goes that this ring here, which is a modern ring, it's made of steel. There is no age to it, but there is a story behind it. That's why I've chosen it. Back in September this year, there was an exhibition in London, Foragers of the Foreshore. I loaned a box with all my rings to be on display at the exhibition, including this ring here.
And Victorian. Well, those beautiful rings, I believe they were found by Tobias, I think.
A member of the public who came to see the exhibition noted my ring amongst the others and contacted the organizers asking to see the ring. Eventually the organizers contacted me and we arranged to meet up. This person, apparently back in the late 90s, made 6 rings to be used as props for a film that was going to be set in London in those days on Albert Bridge, down that way on the River Thames. The actress throws the ring in the River Thames, and that's how the story develops. When we met up, she noted that my ring was identical or almost identical to the one that she had actually made in the 90s. However, this ring here was made of steel, and the rings that she made were all silver, which means this is not the ring, but whoever made this ring copied it from the rings that she had actually made to make it look identical.
Hello and happy Christmas, mudlarking fans all around the world. My chosen item, my favourite find from this year, is something that I found when I went out with Nick White from Tidal Art, and it is a large chunk, that way up, of Roman mortaria. So let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. Here it is. Now, a mortarium, plural mortaria, is basically a Roman mixing bowl, and they normally have grits on the inside which they used to pound the ingredients and mix with oil and spices to make a paste, possibly also food mixing or bread making as well. What is nice about this one is that you can see it's got a stamp with the name of the potter who made it, and especially a thumbprint, which is nice as well. So it's a personal link to an individual Roman potter. Not much Roman pottery is marked. Samian ware and mortaria seem to be the most common things, but it's an extra special find. And the mark of the maker is Verecundus F, which means Verecundus fake it, made it, in other words. Verecundus was a German potter, and he was working from about 150 to 200 AD in Sola, which is in Germany, so that's Roman Germania, and that's near to Bonn, about 30 kilometres from Cologne. And he was working from 150 to 200 AD. And he had several distinguishing features. The first is the size of his mortaria. His mortaria are often 75 centimetres across. So if you imagine a pot 3/4 of a metre across, I mean that's about the size of a dustbin. So these were really chunky things, which is why people say maybe they were used for mixing dough and bread making. And as well as marking them, he was always distinguished by putting his thumbprint next to the maker's mark and also on the spout. So it's a yellowish fabric, quite hard and gritty, with white grits and a pinkish core. This one's got a greyish area. This is the rim where you would grip that, so it's a good gripping rim for mixing there. It's really a testament to Roman trade that they were able to produce such large and heavy pottery objects and then distribute them across Europe. They're found pretty much everywhere the Romans were across Britain, and make it cost effective. So I say hats off to the Romans, and I was very pleased to find this. I nearly didn't pick it up because at first sight it just looks like a chunk of brick. It's so big and heavy. But I'm really glad that I spotted something about it that made me examine it in more detail. So there we are, my favourite find. 2nd century lump of Roman pottery from a mortaria by Verecundus of Sola in Germany.
This morning mudlarking is this nicely decorated Chinese export ware around 18th century. This would have been a small tea bowl and would have been highly decorated in cobalt blue on the outside and decorated with cobalt blue inside. Chinese export porcelain included a wide range of porcelain that was made almost exclusively for export to Europe and later to North America between the 16th and the early 20th century. The bulk export wares of the 18th century were typically tea wares, just like this little bowl was, and dinner services, often in cobalt blue, like this is, with white decorated with flowers. Pine, prunes, bamboos, or with bogalders and landscapes, a style which inspired the willow pattern. They were sometimes enamelled in the Netherlands and England to enhance their decorative appeal. By the late 18th century, imports from China had declined due to changing tastes from new European factories. I often find pieces like this. Sometimes underneath on the base you find a maker's mark, which can be a false mark, but they're really nice to find, and it's nice to find almost a complete decorated interior of this piece.
Happy Christmas one and all. I thought for Christmas spirit, I bring some Christmas spirits. I thought I'd bring you a few of my gin bottles that I found on the foreshore. Starting with a tiny teeny little one, square face, little take your own gin home bottle. Tiny little one.
This is a De Cooper's square face miniature gin bottle with a screw top, which makes it circa 1950s. De Cooper's was a brilliant little gin company who had probably one of my favourite taglines: "Who De Cooper nightly takes, soundly sleeps and fit awakes." You've got to love a good gin.
Slightly bigger. Now this one is quite modern. That's probably, well, about 100 years old or so, roughly. Gordon's Special Dry.
We all love Gordon's gin. It's still popular today. This bottle is a Gordon's Special London Dry Gin. It's a green glass bottle and dates circa 1930s.
And then finally, we've got one of these beautiful old Dutch square face gins, square bottom, absolutely beautiful and really good condition.
This beautiful bottle is a Dutch case gin bottle. It's olive green glass, dating it to circa 1910 to 1920. Because of the square base of these bottles, they could be stacked nicely in a crate for shipping from Holland all over the world, but in our case, England.
So I'm very happy with my 3 little gin bottles, and as it's Christmas, I thought, why not have some real gin on the foreshore? So to wish you all a Merry Christmas, I've got some slow gin with slow breeze that I picked myself, and my camera lady and I are going to have a little gin on the foreshore to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Handing one to my camera lady and one to me. Merry Christmas one and all.